So question number 3. If Sly hired you to write Rambo 5, what synopsis would you give him? Now, I was very curious to see the answer to this, and I love the answer to this. Brent goes on to answer, I'm not sure how much of this I would actually go with. Parts of this might be pretty bad, but off the top of my head at the moment, here it goes. Rambo comes home from Burma back to Arizona. He regretfully learns that his father had died a couple of years previously, but he makes friends with the caretaker family who live there now, to whom his father left his ranch to. Since he assumes his son Rambo was either dead or never coming home again, the caretaker family has a daughter who is in school. And after she goes missing after a spring break trip into Mexico, Rambo goes south to try and find out what had happened to her. When he tries to ask some questions and talk to people in the area where the girl was last heard from, he comes up against a wall of silence and refusal to help him. He has to resort to forceful and violent measures to get some answers. Then Rambo discovers that the caretaker's family's daughter is but one of countless young women who have been kidnapped, raped, sold, and murdered by a vicious drug and human trafficking cartel south of the border for well over 20 years. The cartel also has fresh links to international terrorism, and some of those terrorists are in the process of infiltrating the southern United States. The caretaker's family has relatives in Mexico, some of whom Rambo meets up with, and they assist Rambo in any way they can. Rambo successfully early on in taking out some mid to high level members of the cartel, and as he progresses, a large number of lower level hands-on members with severely disrupts their legal operations, severely disrupts their legal operations. The top level cartel members, some of whom are actually Mexico law enforcement, bring out their very best guerrilla warriors to try to take Rambo out. But he beats them at their own game on their own turf. The cartel leader finds out from one of his underlings that the mysterious Rambo was heard asking questions about the caretaker's family's daughter when he first came on the scene the previous week. The leader responds by setting up a trap for Rambo by using the girl as bait. Rambo cares more about the girl's life than his own, so he accepts the risks and tries to save the girl. The girl's relatives also come along, but they hang back outside the edges of the fighting when Rambo goes in. Rambo kills everyone in his way, concluding with the cartel leader, and he rescues the girl and also gets seriously wounded, stabbed multiple times and shot. The girl demands that Rambo find immediate medical assistance, but Rambo refuses, wanting only to get the girl out of the country as soon as possible. Rambo does some hasty, temporary first aid on himself to prevent from bleeding out to death, and he gets the girl to her relatives and prepares to leave with them. But a large squadron of crooked police and dwindling members of the cartel show up and surround them. Rambo engages them in combat in order to allow the girl and her relatives to escape the scene, which they do. At the end, the girl is back home safe with her family, who never receive word of Rambo's fate. Gratefully to have their daughter back, they hug each other in tears. They look at a photograph of them with Rambo, taken not long after he returned to Arizona. It is left up to the viewer to determine what became of Rambo. That is amazing. And he continues. An alternate idea is having the kidnapped girl being Rambo's daughter, conceived during his one-night stand in Lucky's deleted Vietnam flashback scene from First Blood, and the daughter being his only offspring and one who he didn't know existed before. In this storyline, Rambo comes home to his father's ranch in Arizona and actually finds his old man still alive but dying of cancer, and he manages to make peace with him during the final days before Rambo's dad dies, he tells him about a mixed race of Asian women who had come around once in the past looking for him. He gives Rambo a name and what he can remember about her, but dies before he can finish. Rambo buries his father and then begins searching for information about the woman to find out who she was. The trail leads him to other parts of America and then into Mexico, where he discovers that his daughter turned up missing there and was kidnapped by the cartel. I will admit that this storyline is probably taking the far-fetched way too far, but there it is, just for the heck of it. And I love it. I love it all, man. I love the alternate twist in there. That's very, very clever. And it's something that I could see them actually doing. And I love that first spin you got on the new synopsis, the one that's going around just before the amalgamation synopsis started going around. These are really, really awesome takes on, what could be the last stand of Rambo. And I love how you leave it up to the viewer to determine what happens. It's very, very cool. And it's cool because it could be a standalone finish, and at the same time could actually be maybe a tee-off to another Rambo movie in the future. So I love how you got those two premises going. Okay, question number 4. What type of knife do you think we will see in the new Rambo movie? Brent writes, I'm not sure, but it almost has to be bigger and look deadlier than the machete from Rambo 4, if that's even possible. LOL. Or maybe he has a smaller knife this time, and and one that has a mean-looking curved blade. That would be pretty cool. That would be like a sickle kind of thing. That would be pretty awesome. Question number 5. Honestly, I agree with you. It would be cool to have a new knife design. A really new knife design. Yeah, and if not that, then the latter. They definitely have to go with a bigger knife. Like a bigger. I would also like to see them, because like Rambo 3 and 4, they have no innards in the hilt of the handle for the knife. I would like to see them, this time around, maybe have some more of that survival kit stuff in there that Rambo could use, maybe to, once. I would love to see them have another sewing scene. I would love to see them, like in my plot for Rambo 5, where he ties his headband to kind of put his head back together, because he almost gets kind of scalped in my script. But I would love to see that. Like maybe he has to sew his head up this time, or do some really cool stuff like that. So, question number 5. Do you think we will see the bow and arrows this time around? Maybe the C4 tipped arrowheads? Brent writes, yes. I think he will use the bow and arrows a lot in Mexico, especially to kill in relative silence. I could see him using the C4 tipped arrows a lot in the end, when he is facing the greatest number of cartel members who have him pinned in. Maybe he even wipes out most of their drug stash with these arrows. That would be cool too, because like Rambo could use the C4 tipped arrow, say, and boom, shoots it right where the drugs are, like maybe where the meth tanks are, or like the cocaine. And imagine that would be like cocaine everywhere and meth everywhere, and everyone's getting all fucking high and tripping out and shit, and all tripping out, and like Rambo's killing them, and it's like they fucking think they're seeing the fucking devil, And like Rambo would come in and gut this one, gut that one, kind of like in Batman Begins, when Jonathan Crane gets hit with his own weaponized hallucinogen, and he's looking at Batman, and Batman's like this big monster. Or like at the end when when Batman's soaring over the city, and they all think he's like some demonic bat and shit. That would be fucking crazy. Like, imagine that. Imagine. That would be really, really cool to see everybody hallucinating and, you know, really fearful, and have Rambo, like, really menacing, you know? Almost like a big fucking Neanderthal Rambo, you know, like a fucking, not like a Sasquatch, but like a fucking Neanderthal Rambo. That would be fucking insane. I would pay just to see that fucking scene alone. Alright, so question number 6. What type of weaponry do you think we will see Rambo use in the 5th movie? Alright, here we go. Brent writes, hard to say, but for some reason I'd like to see Rambo do some work with a flamethrower and maybe some sniping like he did in the deleted scene from Rambo 3. Another clever improvised bomb would also be great. I completely agree. I would love to see another fucking sniper scene. I love that sniper scene. I don't even know why they took that out of the movie. It would be very cool to see Rambo use a flamethrower. Very, very, very cool. I would even love to see, like, Rambo go up against someone with who has a flamethrower of their own and fucking shoots the tank and the guy just blows up or burns alive. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Or maybe, you know, Rambo can get hurt by the flamethrower while he's using it, like someone shoots a tank or something, and then Rambo has to do some surgery on himself. That would be cool. And definitely another bomb, you know, improvised bomb. That would be cool. It makes you wonder, that scene from Homefront where Jason Statham rigs up the meth lab. You know, if we would have seen that as a Rambo movie, you know, with Rambo rigging up everything and booby trapping all the meth lab and all that, that would have been sweet. So, alright. Question number 7. What type of weaponry or gadgets would you like to see in the 5th Rambo movie? Brent writes, maybe Rambo comes upon one of the cartel terrorists' weapons or gadgets that they plan to use on Americans and then uses it against them first. That's a fucking awesome answer. Definitely. That's true Rambo fashion. He goes on to say, but I can't think of anything specific at the moment. Maybe some of the cartel members carry taser guns and Rambo is initially tasered, but it doesn't even faze him. He yanks the taser gun away from the cartel member by the wires that are still connected to his body by the darts in his chest. Then he kills the guy before casually removing the darts from his chest and tossing the whole contraption on the ground. I could see that. I could definitely see, like, Rambo charging a guy and they fucking taser him, and he just uses the momentum to get to the guy and kill him more viciously. You know, it reminds me of two things. It reminds me of that, you ever see that movie, The Perfect Weapon, where Professor Tanaka gets hit with the taser and he gets like, and he keeps coming, and then they taser him again, and he's like, and he keeps coming. It reminds me of that. And oh, what was the other thing I was going for here? Fuck. Oh yeah, here it is. That scene from the book from David Morrell's amazing Rambo of the Apes, aka Rambo First Blood Part 2, when Rambo's on the mattress getting electrocuted, and he uses the momentum of the electricity to break down the machine and break free and attack Podolsky. That, you know, it reminds me of that too. That would be freaking cool to see. You know, Sly, if you're out there, since you've delayed Rambo for another couple of months, you should be taking a couple of these notes down. So,